Recently, we had a specialist from the police come to the company where I work and give a talk on cybersecurity. And I have to say it was quite interesting to see the staff actually paying attention to a cybersecurity brief. Though he said the same things that we've been saying over the years, I guess since it was actually the police, they were prepared to listen and pay attention rather than listening to us geeks. Yeah, I thought I'd take a look through this leaflet they gave us and just show you a bit about it, really. So I have to say the police are actually very understaffed in terms of cybersecurity specialists. They split up into different regions in the UK, and for Wales, I think there's only one or two actually working for the entire part of the country. A very low number of specialists, but they're recognising the fact that there is an increase in crime within the area of the internet, really. This presentation is aimed more at SMEs, small and medium enterprises, and recognising the fact that yes, the priority is innovation and growth over online security and risk mitigation. These issues often seem as expensive, burdensome and time-consuming. It is important, though, that these areas are recognised and assessed, and companies are aware of the risks they face from cyber criminals. Whatever business we are in, we all rely on the internet. We buy and sell on it, contact our customers on it, and use it for logistical support. However, with all the opportunities it brings, it is important to remember the risks. Every day, thousands of computer systems all over the world are attacked. There are criminals who take advantage of the anonymity of online world to deceive and hack and steal if the opportunity arises. If an attack is successful, it could have a devastating effect on a business, reputation damage and financial loss. It may mean the failure of a company. Theft or loss of data can have considerable effect on a company's reputation, including loss of customer confidence, and may lead to significant fines from the Information Commissioner's Office. So I thought I would read that page in full, since it is obviously very key to this whole presentation, and actually the importance of cybersecurity. So it doesn't necessarily mean that businesses should not use the internet. Implementing a few simple security processes, making staff aware of the threats, can make a significant difference to the chances of becoming a victim or to a cyber criminal. Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things they were trying to emphasise is just to stop and take a moment to think about what is actually being sent in emails in particular. This is where they talk about statistics of cybercrime, and yes, it is a growing area. What is at risk? So money, intellectual property, IT equipment, IT-based services, websites, payment systems. Absolutely. Who can pose a threat? The competitors, your own staff and hackers. Organised criminals? Yeah. Disgruntled employees? Absolutely. We've had some of those in the time. The internal threat is very difficult to spot. So yeah, there's recognised the resource issue. And actually, specialists in cybersecurity cost a lot of money and are almost could be seen as a drain on resources, in much the same way that security can be seen as a drain on resource. It doesn't give you money. It does stop you losing it, though, and that is actually where my worth comes from. Stop the company where I work at from losing money. So train the staff in how to spot cybercrime incidents and what to do if they're identified. Training staff. I mean, some people will pay attention, but then you'll get those who just won't learn at all, particularly with phishing emails. Cybercrime types. And yeah, revolving around the Computer Misuse Act, which is what the police are actually going to try and charge criminals under in the United Kingdom. I don't know how other countries do this, but yeah, in the UK, Computer Misuse Act is kind of the all-encompassing thing with it in terms of hacking other companies. And I suppose you've got any fraud or financial things that may get theft of money, but yeah, otherwise it's the generic terms. Cyber-dependent crimes. Prior to the internet, computer and network security was relatively simple, as organisations only needed to secure their systems internally. Computers were only connected to others within the company, and they did not generally talk to other computers outside their own network. Since the advent of the internet, the challenges in securing network computers has become significantly more difficult. Yeah, not just the internet, but also poor quality software, I would say. Vulnerabilities in software vulnerabilities that can be leveraged by a hacker. I suppose the more internet connected we become, the worse the situation gets. Yeah, password attacks. I don't know, I suppose more things I see with that is just people giving their password away, really. Not necessarily attacks on the password, I suppose. On the other hand, though, if you've got a situation like passwords getting breached from another company, then the criminals will try the same username and password in other websites, and that's where they can get lucky. Get protection from hacking, use a firewall, really. I think ever since XP Service Pack 2 that firewalls have been enabled on computers by default. Encrypt sensitive data. Yeah. Keep software updated. Very important, actually. Have strong passwords. I do disagree with them a bit on their password advice. And I've tried not to include dictionary words in your password, as this makes them easier to crack. If you're going to use words easy to remember, replace a letter with a similar symbol such as an A with an at or a dollar with or an S with a dollar. Come on, that's like the second thing someone tries on attacking a password. First thing would be the actual word, second thing would be a letter substitution. It does nothing really, swapping with different symbols. I think I've come to learn now with the work I've done with passwords. Consider using a passphrase with 3 random words together, such as boat cup doctor. I suppose you've got the XKCD of correct horse battery staple. Don't use that actual password. Use different passwords for different accounts. If one password is compromised, then at least one account can be hacked. That is actually very fair advice. Use a password manager. There's only a few passwords I actually know. Most of them I haven't got a clue. A password is quite simply the output of PWGen. They discuss a bit about types of attacks. Distributed denial of service, DDoS, extortion. Well, yeah, this is aimed at businesses, so yeah, businesses may be extorted to prevent from attacks. Malware, spyware, ransomware, viruses, worms. Protecting yourself from malware, use antivirus. Yeah. Still not entirely keen on that on Linux, but yeah, Windows, Mac, definitely. Back up your data regularly. Absolutely. But don't back it up to the same computer. Particularly because if you get a crypto locker virus on the computer, the first thing they tend to go for these days is the backups. By the time you actually realise there's a problem, your backups are gone. Yeah, don't follow links or open attachments in emails unless from a trusted source. Although the trouble is that a lot of these days that the hackers get into accounts and send from a trusted mailbox. So yeah, you know who it is. And, yeah, it goes on here. Phishing. Talk about substitution with names. Yeah, but often these days I don't really see much of that. It's generally from actually getting into people's mailboxes, sending to all their address book, all the people they know in their address book, and the attack basically just goes on. And eventually, these criminals are looking for financial transactions which they can start interfering with. Spear phishing, more of a direct form of phishing. Again, criminals will send an email, but on this occasion it will be targeted to a specific person, and the sender is often shown as a person or recipient they know. Maybe a work colleague, senior employee, or someone in the company IT department. Payment fraud. Specific type of spear phishing which targets businesses with the intention of getting them to transfer money to a bank account operated by the cyber criminal. Yeah. I think a lot of what I see, that's their end goal, is the payment fraud, financial fraud. So protection from social engineering attacks. Checking a sender email, but if they've compromised a known inbox, then if they've compromised a known sender, then it's not going to do any good. What to do if a request is made to provide bank details, personal information, or login details? So if a request for this type of information is made, then it should be verified by making contact with the organisation or person making a request using the established contact details. Do not make contact using the reply email. Yeah, very important, because often the attacker is still sat in the person's inbox and will just say, yeah, go ahead, that's what we want, or I definitely need those details. Pick up the phone and phone people. I'm surprised how many attacks that could actually mitigate against. Pick up the phone or go and see them face to face. They got on a bit more there about preventing financial fraud, data leakage. I suppose this is just going to continue on from the same theme, and don't necessarily want to go on to all this. Oh yeah, Wi-Fi hotspots. This is quite a good one. They showed some of the potential attacks. Yeah, free Wi-Fi. Just don't use it, or be very careful what you do on it. Sniffing for Wi-Fi network or sniffing for passwords. Who's to say the Wi-Fi network you're using is actually an access point or someone with a certain Linux distribution with certain programs running? You don't know. Protect yourself. Use a VPN when accessing public Wi-Fi. Yeah, one of the few times it's actually a good idea to use a VPN. If you're unsure whether a Wi-Fi hotspot connection is secure, do not use it. Use 3G or 4G data connection to access the internet instead. So in the future, the Internet of the Internet of Things. IoT devices are generally where computers were sort of 15, 20 plus years ago. They're just a nightmare, and with no proper patching process. Things like what Ubuntu are doing with their snap packaging format, yes, they are trying to help the situation, but yeah, for the most part, IoT stuff's awful. Legislation, the European General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR, it came into force 25th of May 2018. A whole lot of rules about processing people's data. There are significant fines that can be dished out to businesses. It's 5% of global turnover or 20 million. Yeah, that can actually cripple a business, getting a GDPR fine, or the biggest fines that is. And so we go on to how to report crime, and this is the difficulty really. I talk about action fraud. Sorry, there is actually a phone number there for UK people. I should make sure that's on the screen. Action fraud aren't really actioning much. They're mostly collecting statistics. Occasionally they will action something, but like shutting a domain down, but it's so easy to for the criminals to bring it back. So it's difficult really. It's like they need to know statistics to know how short-staffed they are. But if they're not getting the reports, then how do you say you're so short-staffed? Yeah. Anyway, there's some further advice there. One thing they mentioned, get safe online. A few videos on that look quite interesting. Certainly amused some people in the presentation. And that was it really. I have to say that was quite interesting to see how people were being so attentive during the presentation. I think if you can get in contact with the police to do a presentation in your company, then yeah, it might be an idea. It's trying to get the word out to people who would otherwise be ignoring this sort of cybercrime. That's where it's important really. The human element is very often abused, but probably has a good chance of stopping a lot of this crime. Well, thanks for watching. I'll see you all later.